Alright folks, we have a new setup. It looks like you can see everything. Just to let you know, I can't really see what's happening on the screen all too much, just because of the setup that I had to figure out for this. But anyway, here we are. This is my current bullet journal. This is the one for February, currently set up until April. This is my old one. The setup that I had for this one was more for classes and stuff. I'm going to see if I can find kind of my most recent one. Here we go. So this is the kind of setup that I would have. So I've got my timestamp on the side. This is AM and PM. And then each color would represent a class. Purple is theory, pink would be choir, and then this I had set up as sort of like a diet tracker kind of thing. So I had my veggies. I think this would have been protein and then carbs, or protein and then carbs. I don't remember what it was. But I didn't really end up using this setup very much. I loved it for a while and it worked really, really well for what it was. But now that I'm not taking classes this semester and I'm teaching instead, I kind of wanted a new setup. So this one is the, I'm going to say this wrong, Leuchtturm 1917 bullet journal specifically. And it's the dot grid. It's absolutely amazing. I love these so very much. This is my first time working with the actual bullet journal version of it, but I love it so far. This page I don't really use all too much. The key page, just because I know the stuff that I use. As you can see, I haven't filled in any of my contact info yet. It's a pretty new journal. And then the first sort of page that I've been using is the index trackers. So I've got my month right here, and then I've got the pages for all of my trackers and stuff like that. Right now I only have one tracker to sort of keep track of everything, and then I've got my weekly and daily pages marked after that. And then there's that. And then right here I've got, these are my future logs. So I've got two more before here, and that's for January and then February. And here I've got March and April. And then I've got just sort of a goals page that I haven't filled out yet. I'll probably be doing that sometime later on, just when I have time to sit down and doodle in it. I'm going to skip all the way through to March because I do have some stuff marked in, and I don't want to show anybody's name or names or phone numbers or anything like that. So this is March. This is what my sort of monthly setup would be. I've got a habit tracker right at the beginning, and I like using the sort of grid. I'll actually show you my habit tracker for February. Here it is. So I've got this grid here, and then I just mark in, I'll just hash out the ones that I've completed, or I'll do a check mark. I'll usually use hashes to say I've done however much for that day. So yesterday, I haven't filled this in a while, but yesterday I did my cardio and my strength. This is the day before, but I didn't drink as much water, so I'd usually leave it about there. And I did about half of what I would want to do for a journal. Usually I like to do 2 pages of journaling every day. Yesterday I only did 1 page. And then I've got a period tracker, super, super, super useful. I should actually fill the rest of that in. I use big dots for the days where I'm actually on my period, and then little dots to signify the beginning and the end. And then shower, self-care. I've been vlogging consistently. I just haven't been filling this in. I've also been uploading consistently. There we go. So that's now filled in up to the 3rd. So again, I will skip back to March. So that's what this will look like. And then I leave extra space so I can add in other goals later on in the months if I so choose to. So after my habit tracker page, I have my weekly. So this is just for bullet point stuff for what might be happening later on down the line during the week. Any sort of big events or birthdays, usually I would write them in here. Or if I'm going home or if I've got a day off or something like that, I'll usually block it off in my weekly. And then are the dailies. I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday set up like this. And then my Saturday, Sunday has just 2 on the one page, and the weekly after that. So all of my days pretty much look like this. And I'll also flip to the end of the book and give you a little bit of an idea on how I would set that up for a day in a bit of a clip later. And then, so yeah, right now I'm set up all the way into the end of April. And what I'm wanting to do, the reason why I set it up so far ahead is so that I can have extra pages. This is a doodle that I did not too long ago. But I've got a bunch of extra spaces further on in the book where I can add, like if I wanted to do a meal tracker or different lists and stuff like that, or grocery shopping lists and anything that I want to put in, I would put in here. And then when I got towards the end of what I have set up here, then I'll start setting up again later on down here. So as for the actual physical setup, I'll give you an example towards the back of the book. I always use the back of these books for example pages for a new setup I might want to try or something like that. So all that I do for my general daily, or I'll do my weekly setup first. So I usually count 1 in from the side for almost all of my setups, just to give me a little bit of space in here. And then for the weekly, I'll give myself 3 dots from the top, or 4 dots from the top, I guess. The weekly isn't too terribly exact. I usually end it right about here. This, just for an example, is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dots in from the side. And then I'll just block down the big block of that. Oh, I keep losing my spot. There we go. And then I'll trace this line all the way around. I'm used to turning my journals a lot so that I can get the right angles to get the lines. So I'm sorry if my lines are a little bit shaky here. There we go. That's a better line. And I do my journals all freehand just because I think it makes it feel a little bit more personal. And also because I lost my ruler like weeks ago and I have no idea where it is. So for the actual spaces for the weeks, I've figured it out to put 5 dots for each. So that's 5 dots down from the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that gives me 7 spaces, 1 space for every day. And I'll just go through and mark along these pages as well. And I have done this pattern probably about 1,000 times by now. So I've pretty much got it down pat. And I figured that this year I want to keep a pretty consistent pattern, or a pretty consistent setup, just so that it's easier for me further down the line. Because I know that I get into the habit of, like, I'll start really, really well with the setup, and then I'll keep it going for a few weeks, and then I'll kind of fall off, and then get back into it again, and I'll keep on skipping through the weeks. And I'd like to kind of keep it consistent this year. So after I've got this part set up, I add 1 extra line down this side to mark my days. So I'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we'll just say usually I would space that a little bit better, but I'm kind of rushing. So then at the top I would write whatever the week is. So Monday, 1st of, we'll say, April, to Sunday, the 7th of April. And sometimes I'll put the year, sometimes not. It depends on how much space I end up leaving myself. And then over to the side here, usually I have a little to do. So these are for things that don't necessarily have a specific date. Like if I wanted to set up my journal for the next month, I just do a little dot. So that's set up Bujo, bullet journal. And then if I've got it right, I just put a check mark. If I didn't do it, I mark it out. If it's been moved, I just use sort of an arrow. Or if it's canceled, I'll exit out. And that's pretty much the bulk of what I'll use for sign. Excuse me. So, moving on to the dailies. All I do, same spot as where I would put for my weekly. And I'll start from that dot and I'll go up. And this will be my hour by hour sort of marked off tracker. Timestamp, I guess. And I've plotted it all out so that I've got just enough for what I need. Again, usually my lines are a little bit straighter, but I'm not used to filming this process. I'm trying to make it more easy for you to see. But yeah, then I would mark in all of my hours. And I love this setup because it lets me get really, really specific with my day-to-day. Then I will mark in my day. And this space in here, right now I'm, as I've said in my vlogs, excuse me, is I'm really working on getting healthy this year. So usually what I'll do is I'll plunk my weight down up here, or I can track if I've done my cardio or if I've done my strength training or whatever it is that I want to use that extra space for. So I'm just realizing that I don't have my pencil crayons or my highlighters here. But typically what I'll do is say I'm working from 2 until 8, which is a pretty standard time for me. So I would just mark this off here in a pencil crayon color. So usually it would be blue because I love blue. And I would mark this off. And then over here, I would mark it off half hour by half hour because all of my lessons go in half hour times. So I would go 2, 2:30, 3, 3:30, 4, 4:30, 5, 5:30, 6, 6:30, 7, 7:30, 8. And again, this would all be done in either one of my colored markers or my highlighters, but I don't have them with me today. So this, again, would be done in blue. And then, if I've got a break, that's when I would hash it out. And usually I will put my time up on top. So 2, 230, 3, 330, 4, 430, 5, 530, 6, 630, 7, 730, missed one, 8. And then beside them here, I would just write in the names of whatever student I had. All the way down. And this is what's been working for me. Pretty much all of January I used this, and so far I really, really like this setup. I also used it for part of December as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. For the tracker, back here, we go. I just do an average sort of grid pattern. Again, I do mine all by hand, but you can write in your, or use a ruler if you wanted. It's pretty much up to you. And yeah, I will, if you want, I can give you an update after I've added a little bit more in. It's not the most exciting bullet journal, but it does its purpose for me, and I have a lot of fun with it. So anyway, have a good rest of your day, and bye!